What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you, Jimmy Smith, Ryan Moody. We've been busy. We do have real jobs, Jimmy. You work over at ESPN. I have a job that is just totally ridiculous right now as we try to re-enter. So we did miss a card and a recap. Missed a card and a recap, but didn't mean we didn't watch it. You watched it. You actually did a very eloquent pre and fight show by yourself. I got a little teary-eyed, but
well, thank you.
We're gonna expand a little bit, talk about some things. It's really, I thought it was kind of poetic justice isn't the right word. We expected all the bad things to happen at Fight Island, and yet the first time we come back, all the bad things happen. Like everything weird. Maybe we should have never left. I want to start with Joanne Calderwood, who, man, my heart goes out to her. Like it's literally the worst situation you could run into. She comes in, I mean, the clear number one contender with a title fight. She takes on someone underneath her in the rankings with the ideology of, if I can't beat people below me, then I don't have to be able to fight for a championship. And, that really is a good soundbite. But when you lose and everything gets swept out from underneath of you, it doesn't have the same meaning to it, does it?
It sucks because I don't know if you saw it. And for people who ask me, I work for ESPN International. That's kind of my weekly gig now. It's all the basically MMA outside the United States. So UK, Hong Kong, Australia, and I do the UFC fight camp for them every week, and then I break down fights on Sunday, usually the morning after a show. So I interviewed for ESPN International Joanne Calderwood right before her fight last week, and sweet, wonderful person, said everything about, if I can't beat her, then I don't deserve the title shot. And this feels like destiny, I feel ready to go and all this stuff. And you end up rooting for her, right? Because you want to reward fighters that take this risk, that go, hey, I'm needed. It's last minute, but whatever, I'm going to do it for the fans. And like, you want that person to be rewarded. And she got beat soundly. It wasn't like it was a controversial decision. I mean, she got armbarred bad. And so it sucks. It's the bad ending to the good story, where you would like somebody like Joanne Calderwood to come out there with a win to show fighters, yeah, man, you can take that risk and take that leap and it'll work out for you. And it just didn't in any way.
Yeah, I think you said it there the right way. I mean, it literally is for the fans. That's why you have these people that step into these things last minute or step up to them, and they want to put on a performance. They have all the confidence in the world. But like you said, it was almost like the one place she didn't want to go is on the ground. And as soon as she got there, she put herself in a really bad position and then didn't do anything to get out of it. And it was almost like, watching it happen in slow motion. It seemed like, you're sitting there. I know I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, this is bad. Okay, now it's really bad. Okay, well, now it's getting like to the point of no return. And it's not just a loss on a record. It's not just a submission to an armbar. It's, you have to wonder, do you ever have a title shot again? Do you get back to that point? One of our last shows, we talked about, fighters that put together good records and never get to the highest point, because they put a couple fights together, they get knocked back. It's not, I hate to say it, but it's not really often who is the best fighter that's ranked number two. It's who has had the most, I guess.
Juice is a great expression I heard from a football coach. Was you in the playoffs, you want juice, meaning momentum, right? A big win leading into the playoffs is more important than being 14-2 on the season, but your last two losses were right before the playoffs, right? It's recency bias. It's who had the water cooler moment, who has the momentum, who are fans talking about right now. A lot of times that's who gets the title shot. You can string together win after win after win and never have that signature big performance that gets people talking about you. You'll get leapfrogged by an Israel Adesanya who, when he wins, it's in spectacular fashion, right? When he hits guys, they stay down and everybody's talking about it. And that's what happens. And so Joanne Calderwood was on a 1-fight winning streak. She didn't have a lot of juice. She didn't have a lot of momentum. What she had was one win. Well, what does that mean? Somebody else with one win can take your place. And that's where Jennifer Maia is right now. It wasn't meant, like Tony Ferguson. what, a 12-fight win streak. It gets snapped and he's knocked off that perch, but it won't take a lot for him to get back. He really had an amazing streak at 155. The problem is Joanne Calderwood didn't have that. She was just kind of next in line because 125 is a really shallow talent pool, and she was next in line. The problem is that pedestal you're standing on really, really shaky. And so Jennifer Maia can jump right over her easily. A few other fighters could jump over her. It's not that hard.
I think it also comes down to favorable matchups, though, and maybe more than anything. I mean, I think back to maybe, you look at Thiago Santos last year, steps up, beats, Eric Anders, Jimmy Manawa, Juan Blachowicz. No one right now that you would circle and say, well, you beat him, you're a title contender. You beat him, you're going to be number, top 5. So you get those kind of favorable matchups where things kind of fall into place. And keep in mind, that's after he kind of, melded around in middleweight for a little bit. So I think a lot of it is also management. We talk about it a lot in this sport, actually, how management can kind of steer things together to put title fights together. And not to say that she doesn't have great management, but it's, these are opportunities we don't always see at the front door for someone. So to see someone put themselves in a position, not through a performance really, but just to be put in this position to kind of throw it away, and then it actually happens, that's a unique moment. We don't often see the risk become the actual failure point to a degree. We usually see the other side of this where, it's a resounding win, you go on your way and you raise your stock. In this case, your stock pretty much goes down almost to the floor.
That's the hard part. And the hard part moving forward as a fan and as an analyst, I didn't see anything out of Jennifer Maia that makes me think she's going to beat Valentina Shevchenko. Yeah, solid performance. She looked good. Good stand up. Obviously, good on the ground. I didn't see, wow, she can beat Shevchenko. I didn't see that at all. So that's another thing. Also, moving forward, it didn't replace it with somebody that I'm gung ho to see. I mean, yeah, she might get the next title shot. It's great. Amanda Nunes, nobody's going to beat her. Shevchenko, nobody's going to beat her until Father Time catches up with them. They're just heads and tails above the rest of the division. That's another thing to keep in mind. She's just heads and tails above everybody. And I don't see Jennifer Maia, getting through a fight with Valentina Shevchenko any more than I saw Calderwood doing it. It's just who gets that shot. Yeah, exactly.
She won to her strength. I mean, at the end of the day, when you see somebody come out and cement themselves as a new contender, at least for me, I want to see something different. I want to see somebody come out, new forward in their game. Oh, they really improved. This is what we expect. I mean, listen, I hate to borrow another sports term, but she is who we thought she was. She came in, she won the way that we thought she could. It was an impressive performance from a position standpoint, but it wasn't stop the presses. We've got a new contender. This is something we never expected.
Yeah. And it sucks to see Joanne Calderwood lose. And yet, hats off to Jennifer Maia. I'm not taking anything away from her win. She deserves, good to be next in line. Of course, Shevchenko tweeting that she'll probably see her next and all that stuff. I'm not saying she doesn't deserve it. I'm saying it kind of sucks to see Joanne Calderwood take this big risk. It doesn't work out. And I don't think the person who beat her does any better against Shevchenko. I don't. I think Shevchenko's a level ahead. So it's disappointing on a few levels.
Well, I think a lot of it is the fans play into this. This is, essentially a position for the fans, and the fans in this case, I think, really reacted well in a way of they appreciated what she did and understand what she lost. Would love to know your guys' thoughts on this. Appreciate you checking out, and we will be back very shortly with more commentary.